Today, I want to talk about something I wish I had learned much earlier in life. How to stand up for yourself without losing yourself in the process. For a long time, I let people say things to me that were hurtful, dismissive, insulting, passive-aggressive, or just flat-out disrespectful. I would get quiet. I would laugh it off. I would tell myself it was not worth the argument. Sometimes that was true, because not every comment deserves a rebuttal. But sometimes silence became a pattern. And that pattern taught other people that they could speak to me however they wanted, and I would absorb it. The reason this matters is because there is a difference between peacekeeping and self-abandonment. Peacekeeping says, I am choosing not to escalate this moment because it does not deserve my energy. Self-abandonment says, I am pretending this did not hurt because I'm afraid of what will happen if I say the truth. Those two things can look similar from the outside, but they feel very different inside the body. One feels grounded, the other feels like swallowing a stone. Learning to stand up for yourself is not about becoming aggressive, cruel, loud, or impossible to talk to. It is about learning how to stay connected to your own dignity when someone else tries to push you out of it. It is about knowing when to speak, when to stay silent, when to walk away, and when to realize that someone's reaction to your boundary tells you everything you need to know. Reacting and responding are not the same thing. Reacting is fast, emotional, and automatic. It usually comes from the nervous system's threat response. Something happens, your body feels attacked, and before your thinking brain is fully caught up, you snap, defend, shut down, explain too much, insult back, cry, freeze, or try to escape the discomfort. In psychology, this kind of quick reaction is often connected to the brain's survival system, especially the amygdala, which is designed to detect danger quickly. That system is useful if you're avoiding a real physical threat, but it can create problems when the threat is a rude comment, a manipulative dig, or someone testing your boundaries. Responding is different. Responding still allows you to feel the emotion, but it gives you a pause before you act. That pause is where your power is. It gives the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain associated with reasoning, judgment, impulse control, and long-term decision-making, time to come online. A response asks, what is really happening here? What do I want to communicate? What boundary needs to be stated? What kind of person do I want to be in this moment? Reacting says, you hurt me, so now I have to hurt you back or defend myself immediately. Responding says, you crossed a line, and I can name that line without handing you control of my emotions. Reacting is often about relief in the moment. Responding is about self-respect in the long run. The pause matters because not every person deserves the same version of your honesty. A close friend who accidentally hurts your feelings may deserve vulnerability. A manipulative person who's intentionally trying to provoke you may deserve a short boundary and no emotional access. A coworker who makes an inappropriate comment may deserve a calm, professional correction. A stranger online may deserve nothing at all. This is why emotional maturity is not just about what you say. It is also about reading the room, reading the person, and reading the situation. Before you respond, it helps to ask yourself, is this person emotionally mature enough to understand what I'm about to say? Are they trying to repair, or are they trying to win? Do I need to explain myself, or do I need to protect my peace? Silence can be a response when it is chosen intentionally. Silence becomes harmful only when it comes from fear, shame, or the belief that you are not allowed to take up space. There's a huge difference between freezing because you feel powerless and choosing not to engage because the other person has already shown they are not safe, honest, or emotionally capable of a productive conversation. When someone gets upset for you standing up for yourself, one of my favorite sayings to describe their reaction is, "Who smelt it, dealt it." It is silly. But there is an interesting psychological idea hiding inside it. The saying points to the way the first loud reaction can sometimes reveal more than the person intended. When someone immediately becomes defensive, angry, or dramatic after being calmly confronted, their reaction can function like an emotional flare. It may not prove every detail of their intention, but it does tell you that something inside them was activated. This is where projection, defensiveness, and guilt can enter the picture. Projection is a defense mechanism where a person pushes an uncomfortable feeling, trait, or motive outside of themselves and attributes it to someone else. A person who knows they were being cruel may accuse you of being too sensitive. A person who knows they crossed a line may accuse you of starting drama. A person who knows they were trying to provoke you may act shocked that you noticed the provocation. In other words, they try to relocate the problem from their behavior to your reaction. That is why the first person to explode is not always the person with the most truth. Sometimes they are simply the person with the most to defend. If you calmly say, "I did not appreciate that comment," and the other person immediately attacks your character, mocks your feelings, or tries to punish you for naming the issue, pay attention. Their reaction may be showing you that the boundary hit the exact place they were trying to hide. This does not mean every defensive reaction is proof of guilt. People can react strongly when they feel embarrassed, misunderstood, ashamed, anxious, or caught off guard. But when the pattern is repeated, when every calm boundary turns into them calling you dramatic, sensitive, disrespectful, difficult, or crazy, that pattern becomes information. At that point, the reaction is no longer a one-time mistake. It is a strategy. Some people make comments because they are careless. Other people make comments because they are testing where your fence is. They want to see if you will defend yourself, shrink, laugh nervously, over-explain, or take the bait. These are the people who say something disrespectful and then watch your face. If you react emotionally, they use your emotion against you. If you stay silent, they assume they can keep going. If you respond calmly, they may escalate because your calmness takes away the game. This is where responding matters most. With a manipulative person, you usually do not need a long speech. Long explanations can become material for them to twist. A clear boundary is often stronger than a paragraph. You can say, "I do not appreciate that comment." You can say, "Do not speak to me that way." You can say, "That was inappropriate." You can say, "I am not continuing this conversation if you keep talking to me like that." Then stop. The boundary is the message. The hard part is that staying calm may feel like letting them get away with it. But calm is not weakness. Calm is control. Calm says, "I am not giving you the emotional reaction you are trying to buy from me." When you refuse to escalate, you keep the focus where it belongs. On the behavior, not on how big your reaction became. A friend is different. If someone close to you says something hurtful and you believe the relationship is generally safe, honest, and respectful, then vulnerability may be appropriate. You might say, "Hey, when you said that, it hurt my feelings." Or, "I know you may not have meant it that way, but that comment felt dismissive." Or, "I care about our friendship, so I want to be honest, instead of pretending that did not bother me." A person with emotional maturity may not love hearing that they hurt you, but they will usually be willing to pause, listen, and repair. They may say, "I am sorry. I did not realize it came across that way." They may ask what you meant. They may explain their intention without denying your impact. That is what healthy repair looks like. Both people remain humble, both people stay accountable, and the relationship becomes safer because honesty was allowed in the room. The difference between a safe person and an unsafe person is not that safe people never mess up. Safe people can still say the wrong thing. They can be tired, awkward, distracted, or unaware. The difference is what they do when you tell them. A safe person moves toward understanding. An unsafe person moves toward punishment. One of the hardest lessons is that some people only like the version of you who did not call them out. They liked the version of you who stayed quiet, absorbed the insult, softened the discomfort, and made their behavior easier for them to ignore. When you stop playing that role, they may call you difficult. They may say you changed. They may act like your boundary is the betrayal, even though their disrespect came first. That can hurt, but it can also clarify. If a relationship can only survive while you are silent about your pain, then the relationship was not built on mutual respect. It was built on your tolerance. Losing access to someone who needed you small in order to feel comfortable is not a failure. Sometimes it is growth finally doing its job. This applies to friends, family, co-workers, relationships, and anyone else who believes closeness gives them permission to be careless with you. You do not need to become cruel to prove you have boundaries. You also do not need to become a carpet for someone to wipe their feet on just to keep a connection. There are people in the world who will respect you without requiring you to beg for basic decency. There are moments when you may want to defend yourself with every fact you have. You may know the truth. You may know someone blamed you for something they actually said or did. You may feel the urge to correct the record immediately, but sometimes, after you pause, you realize the person is not looking for truth. They are looking for conflict. They're not trying to understand. They're trying to win. In that kind of situation, walking away can be the most mature response available. Not because you are helpless, and not because they were right, but because you are able to recognize when the conversation has no productive place to go. Sometimes the strongest thing you can say is nothing. Sometimes the most powerful boundary is distance. Sometimes the best response is to let them have the argument by themselves while you keep your peace. Standing your ground does not require a perfect script, but it helps to have a few phrases ready before you need them. When you are calm, practice saying them out loud so your nervous system knows the words are available. Try. "I did not appreciate that comment. Please do not speak to me that way. That felt disrespectful, and I want to address it. I am willing to talk, but not if the conversation turns insulting. I need a minute before I respond. I am not going to argue about my boundary. If this continues, I am going to step away. The goal is not to sound clever. The goal is to be clear. Keep your voice steady if you can. Keep your body grounded. Do not over-explain. Do not beg them to agree. Do not turn your boundary into a debate. A boundary is not a group project. It is information about what you will and will not participate in. If you are learning to stand up for yourself later in life, please do not shame yourself for not knowing how sooner. Many people were taught to be polite before they were taught to be honest. Many people were praised for being easygoing when they were actually disappearing inside themselves. Many people learned to keep the peace because speaking up once felt unsafe, pointless, or too costly. But the strength is still in you. It may feel shaky at first. Your voice may tremble. Your heart may race. You may second-guess yourself afterward. That does not mean you did it wrong. It means your nervous system is learning something new. Every calm boundary is practice. Every pause is practice. Every time you choose to respond instead of react, you are proving to yourself that you can protect your peace without becoming the thing that hurts you. Standing your ground is not about becoming hard. It is about becoming rooted. You can be kind and still say no. You can be soft and still have standards. You can be calm and still be serious. You can walk away without being weak. And when someone reacts badly to your boundary, remember this: their reaction is not proof that you were wrong. Sometimes it is proof that the old version of you, the quiet one, the accommodating one, the one who swallowed the hurt, is just no longer available. That is not a loss. That is growth. Keep learning. Keep practicing. Keep coming back to yourself. You're allowed to take up space, and you're allowed to stand there with both feet on the ground. And most importantly, you are allowed to protect your peace.